behavioral observational study of oral sex in non-humans, and they extend the interpretation of such behavior beyond that of just pleasure giving, and they kind of help put it into an evolutionary context. Currently we do not know though why it occurs, but this finding serves as a possible hypothesis on why it does, providing hypotheses. So some methods. So the study site, the research was conducted according to protocols approved by the Guangdong Entomological Institute Administrative Panel, or ELAP, on laboratory and animal care. So, they weren't doing anything illegal. It was according to protocol by a respective animal facility care institution. Study was conducted in January 2007 through December 2007 in Guangzhou City in Guangdong Province, located in southern China. So capturing the bats, how they went about capturing the bats. So the bats were captured in a park called the USU Park, where they recorded the sex, age, and reproductive states of the bats. However, there were some bats that were excluded from the study, such as subadults, in other words, bats that aren't fully adults yet, like teens, pregnant, and lactating females. And the reason why is because they could intervene with copulation data. So at the end, 30 males and 30 females were tagged. Males had metal rings on their left arms, and females had metal rings put on their right arms, easy to identify. They were held in these cages. They were called flight cages, and in each cage they had a female and male paired randomly. Now the cage was exposed to natural conditions. Leaves were attached on the ceiling of these cages to provide a place for the bats to sleep. And bananas and water were provided for them every day as a source of nutrition. So these bats weren't harmed in any way or anything like that. They were given the appropriate nutrition and stuff. Now, some behavioral observations. So behavior was observed through a camera installed in the cage and hooked up to a computer. These behaviors were recorded continuously, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. The frequency and duration of copulatory behaviors were recorded, and sometimes the female appeared to resist, but the male would follow her until the copulation was completed. In two instances, the female evaded the male for about 8 to 25 seconds and turned to actually bite the male, but the male followed her until mating was completed. During copulation, the male usually maintained a tight hold on the scruff of the female neck by using his mouth, and his thumbs held her wings firmly. The male often groomed himself or licked the inner surface of the tent, yet rarely flew away. Important thing to take away from this is that when copulation was completed, the male licked his penis for several seconds. This self-licking occurred after all of 20 copulations, but was absent after 3 instances in which intromission failed to occur. Intromission being the process of the penis entering the vagina. So 20 successful, let's go to the analysis. So 20 successful copulations were observed among these 30 pairs. What that means is, 20 out of the 30, the copulations were, in other words, the female didn't get away, the male finished, etc. Data was tested for normality to see, nothing wonky was going on, using parametric analysis such as a Pearson correlation, which the Pearson correlation is essentially a measure of linear concentration between two variables, giving a value between 1 through -1, 1 being total concentration, total positive concentration, correlation, 0 no correlation, -1 total negative correlation, and linear regression to determine the total length of time that the female licked the male's penis during copulation and the total duration of the copulation were associated. Non-parametric tests such as the Mann-Whitney U-test were also used when data was not distributed normally. And now what the Mann-Whitney U-test shows or does, it's essentially just a non-parametric test of the null hypothesis that two populations are the same against an alternative hypothesis. Now that can get a bit confusing, but all you have to know is that it's just to show the information more clear when it was shown in the data. It was just shown weird, if that makes sense. And as we'll soon see, the figures that are shown what their means are given their standard error, and all the tests were conducted at the 0.05 significance level. So the results. So genital licking was observed in 14 of the 20 copulations. The average duration of the penis licking was 19.14 seconds, representing about 8.7% of the average duration of copulation. Again, an important thing is to take away from this slide is that there was a strong correlation between the total length of time that the female licked the male's penis and the duration of copulation, which means the longer the female licked the penis of her mate, the longer they copulated for. Furthermore, we found that whether a female licked her mate's penis during copulation had a significant influence on the duration of copulation, compared to whether a female did not show licking behavior. So this suggests that the licking behavior may play an important role in copulation by prolonging intromission. So let's take a look at our figures here. So this one, this graph, it represents the length of time with or without licking behavior over the copulation number, so x over y. And the little black portions are what this graph shows is the distributions of the time that the female licked and did not lick the penis in 20 copulation attempts. So the little black portions is where the female licked, and the rest, the blank parts, are where the female did not lick. Now the duration of copulation. So this next slide shows the duration of copulation in the x-axis. Sorry, the y. That is interesting.